Hey, book lovers! Welcome back to another episode of the Book Lovers Club. And y'all, it is a special day in the studio because I am joined today by one of my favorite Black Sapphic authors. Okay, one of my top reads of 2025 was her book, and I recommend it all the time, y'all. And the WNBA sports romance series, y'all know who I'm talking about, Miss Erica Alexander. I am so grateful to have you here with me. Like, your pen game is elite, and I'm just so thankful that you chose to come on my podcast.
Thank
But
you, thank
before
you.
we jump in, can you just let my listeners know a little bit about you?
Okay, so my name is Erica Alexander, but I go by Ari because that's just what I prefer. I am 29 going on 30. I'll be 30 in April. Oh Lord. But I'm
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm excited to be in my 30s. I'll say that. I've been writing since I started with poems in middle school because I was like, oh, poetry, this is cool. And so I started writing poems and I started writing these little fan fictions before I knew fan fiction was a thing. And I might have got in trouble for a few of them 'cause I was writing stuff I shouldn't have been writing, but I told my mama, "Now I get paid for writing stuff that I got in trouble for writing when I was younger." And then I started really getting into reading around 8th grade, ninth grade, and
Mhm.
that was the first time I was, like, I guess, exposed to, like, all these books with Black main characters. Like, I was reading YA at the time,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, this is a Black girl my age on the cover of this book, and this is her story, and I relate to this." And it was, like, really inspiring. I was like, "Well, I like reading, I like writing poetry. What if I wrote a book?" But I wanted the character to be a Black girl from Baton Rouge, from Louisiana, because that's where I was from, and, I wanted the representation. I wanted people to read the book and be like, "Yeah, that's yeah." And so when I was 15, I got a flash drive first time because I had never had a flash drive.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, and I would always get in trouble in middle school because I never had a flash drive 'cause, like, no, my mama couldn't afford it. But anyway, I had got a flash drive for the first time, and we didn't have no internet, and so all we had was the basic stuff that came on the computer, like Microsoft Word and Windows, music
Mhm.
player, whatever. So what I would do is I have my music playing on my CDs from my CDs, and I would be writing in Word,
Mhm.
and that's all I would be doing all day. Every day I get off of school, I'll be writing and listening to my music. And in 6.5 months, I wrote my first book. Was it good?
Yes.
I mean, it was good to me. And then the years passed, I wrote more like YA books, and then I transitioned to like fanfic, like 2015 or something. I was writing fanfic. And then around 2023 came around, I took a art history class because I had went back to school, and I took art history class, and it like triggered my love for
Mm.
writing in a way because I had to like dissect the art and tell what you think
Yeah.
about. And I was like, this is really nice. Maybe I should go back to this book and see if I can like rewrite it. So I rewrote the book and I reworked it, made it better, and published it on my grandma's birthday in 2023.
Oh,
And that is my author anniversary, my official author anniversary.
wow.
And then I wrote All for Us, which is a completely different story from the book it was when I first wrote it. And then around late, like I want to say August or September 2023, I was like, I want to write adult romance because so far I had only been writing YA. Because I was like, I'm an adult. Well, let me write adult romance. But this was like around the time where I was just becoming comfortable being queer or like,
Mhm.
that part of my life. And so I was like, I want to write about, can I write a book about two women? Like, I write a book about whatever I want. But,
Yeah.
I was like, and I didn't know the term sapphic at that time. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna write about pansexual women because I'm pansexual. And again, I wanted that representation. And
Yes.
so that's how Sunflower and Marigold came about. I wanted to write a third book, Azaleas, but it ended up getting too long, which is why Mums came about because, I just split the book up. Then I went on like a writing spree, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
because I was also dealing with like really bad depression. And I realized that one of the things that got me out of my head was writing. So I
Yes.
literally wrote like 11 books in a year because like I was constantly writing stories and editing stories and releasing stories because it was just helping me with my depression, with my anxiety and everything.
Mhm.
But I ended up burning out around the time Sweet Like Honey was released, and it got really, really bad, and I
Mhm.
almost stopped writing altogether. I had to take a break, and then Amaranthine came out, and then last year I told myself I wasn't gonna write that many books. I wasn't gonna push myself that hard because I didn't want to burn out again. But last year I was also not the greatest year,
Yeah.
but I did get some books published, and I'm proud of, and I wrote some books, and now we're here.
Look, I'm really, really glad you didn't stop writing, okay? Because your books are some of my favorite. And like you mentioned, the representation. So, your book that you just released, The Rhythm of Rain at Dawn,
Mhm.
Dawn is so relatable because she's a Capricorn like me. And I'm reading it and I'm like, yes, but Rain and just her journey with ADHD and some of the things that you've written about her, like I could see how writing can be therapeutic and how that shows up in your books and your characters. And it's very relatable to readers like me. So I'm really, really grateful that you were able to push past the burnout and still put out these amazing books for us. Self care is everything, but you mentioned that you're from Baton Rouge in Louisiana.
Mhm.
Louisiana holds a special place in my heart because even though I'm a Chicago girl, I love New Orleans down. How would you say, like growing up in Louisiana, how has that influenced your writing? I know you mentioned you wanted to make sure that that representation was in your characters, but how has that experience influenced how you write your characters?
So all of my books take place in Louisiana. Like they're all set in Louisiana. That's very important for me because in my story sometimes I mention places that only people from Baton Rouge will know, or only people from Louisiana will understand this reference. And even though it's not many, I just like adding those little tidbits in there because it's like, oh yeah, I know this place. Like in Sweet Like Honey, they mentioned a store called the Blue Store, and everybody knows about the Blue Store. No matter your ethnicity, your race, nothing, no background, you know what the Blue Store is. And they have the best chicken. So I put that in there, and then like the different foods that I can include in there that the characters like, because all my characters love a good, southern
Yeah.
classic red beans, rice and gravy. They like, Cajun food and all kinds of things, and I like being able to incorporate things I grew up with and places I went to when I was younger into books. And it's almost like me and my characters was living the same life because we grew up enjoying the same thing, going to the same places, experiencing the same thing. Like even in my YA series, when they talk about going to the mall and the different stores in the mall, I was like, this is from back when I was in high school because it's set when I was in high school. So it also gives me a chance to be nostalgic. And the fact that I am from here and I get to write about characters from here, it just makes it feel, I don't know, like it's like a full circle moment. It like feels like really authentic and wholesome. And again, it just feels like I'm writing down the stories that my friends are telling me, so we can share them with other people. Which is why I always say that my books kind of read like diaries almost,
Mhm.
because the way that I see them is I'm sitting at the table and they're telling me what's going on, what happened in their life, or I'm watching it unfold right in front of me.
I got that vibe while I was reading The Rhythm of Rain at Dawn. And then with your books being told so personable, like I really feel like we get a glimpse into the character's psyche,
Mhm.
and learning about them. So no, I really do understand what you're talking about, how it reads like a diary. But since we're talking, I've brought up your new book. Can you talk about your book? You released it on January 12th, which is my
Mhm.
birthday. And like I said, one of the characters is my
See?
birthday twin.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never had a book birthday twin before. So can you talk to the listeners who probably may have not read the book yet on what they can expect from the book and just, what went into writing it?
I wanted to write a book about celebrity who falls in love with, I guess Rain wasn't technically her fan at first, but she ends up being her fan. But I wanted to write, I don't know, just something about because I realized I didn't have many books about characters in the entertainment business, and I like the idea of one of my characters being a famous R&B singer and the other one being a dancer who ends up, this isn't a spoiler because it's like it happens like
Mhm.
in the, ends up being on her tour and things like that. And but also it was kind of very personal to me as well because Rain's mom. has like Alzheimer's and dementia, and my grandma actually had that as well before she passed away in 2016. But it's a story about healing, and it's a story about persevering, because all Rain's life she was just told, "You're not good enough to do this." Not only by her sister, but the people she went to school with, the people she
Yeah.
called friends, everybody. And it took a toll on her self-esteem, on her confidence and everything. And then she meets Dawn, and Dawn is like, yeah, we don't play that around here. Yeah, they grew up in two entirely different households, and Dawn was raised on like love and affection and speaking your mind. And I just wanted to write about a relationship that was just beautiful and soft. So, if you want like something that's just sweet and cozy, and there's like a dash of drama, and there's like a plot twist or two in there somewhere, then I'll definitely recommend it.
So I have a father that has Huntington's disease. The fact that you're writing things like this, there are some of us, this is our life. And just having characters where you can see yourself in them really is what made me want to read more Black Sapphic books. The stories just hit different. It's different when you can find books where it really does connect to things that are in your lived experience, and you can pull things from the books to help you with your own journey. But you talked about just how, you use your art as a way to help yourself heal and as a form of therapy for yourself. How has that been as an author in this landscape that we're in right now? It's been a lot of conversation just around the criticism that you all are getting on social media, and like you just dropped this book. So the reviews are starting to come in. How is it around release day? Are you excited for it? Do you have anxiety around it? How has this impacted you with like your mental health and just how you approach social media and your writing?
So I would keep 100% around every release day. Like probably like starting a week before, I get like really really bad anxiety, and that's just, I think, yeah, it's because I'm releasing a new book, and then I'm not sure how people will receive it. If they'll think it's the worst book in the world, or if they'll like it or not. But it's also just I'm just naturally a very anxious person, and like I was diagnosed with like panic disorder. So the closer it gets, the more kind of stressed out and like overthinking I start doing. But also I have to tell myself that not everybody is going to like the book, and
Yeah.
that is okay. There are, for every one bad review you get, or for one person that totally hates the book, there are like 10 people that love the book and love your writing style and love your characters. And that's something that I have to tell myself. Also, I realized that while I was talking to one of my author friends, we were talking about how we were both like taking breaks. And she was saying that she just had one more post to make, and then she'll like take a break. But I told her that because I promote my books like months in advance, like I was promoting this book as soon as I
Yeah.
started writing it, I was promoting it, making the Sims characters and getting art and everything done. By the time that I release my books, when it's release day, it's out there. I don't focus anymore, promotion on it, because the people that have seen it and have been waiting for it, they're reading it, they have read it already, and hopefully they like recommend it to people, and hopefully people will see it in somebody wrap up or see it in somebody review and read it. But I just move on to the next story as soon as the book is released, because if I stay too long on one thing thinking about it, or like constantly checking reviews, I'm just gonna be in a
Yeah.
spiral, a constant circle. So I try to move on to something else after a new book is released. It is anxiety inducing, and that's also why, had to take a step back from social media. But it doesn't last for long, because there's always another book, another story to tell. Once I finish writing the book and it's edited and it's sent to beta readers if I have them, or arc readers if I do it, and then I start writing a new book. Now I'm obsessed with these characters. Now I'm thinking about Zaya and Jakayla, the characters in Sweetest Pie. I'm trying to get their story together so I can release that in May or June. Hopefully May. I'm aiming for May. But Yeah, that's just how it is.
So I feel like there are people out here that really needed to hear that, despite the fact that you have anxiety and a panic disorder and you're pushing past your comfort zone to still put your art out here. I know that's a deterrent for several people. Like, I'm on social media, I see the post. There are people who are aspiring writers. They want to put out books, but because of what they see that you all have to navigate with social media and the reviews, and it's made them very afraid to share their writing with the world. So I think hearing that struggles with some of the same things and you're not letting that deter you from putting your writing out there, I could see that being very inspiring for authors who need to hear that and know that it is possible to juggle that and manage your anxiety and still put your art out there. So, we're talking about books, okay?
Yeah.
Do you have a book that you've written that's, like, your favorite out of all of them?
I do, I do. It is, and I've said this a lot of times, and it's not gonna change no matter what book I write. It's always gonna be Amaranthin. That is my favorite book I've written, and I'll tell you why. It's
Okay.
because the 2 main characters of that book are 2 of the main characters from All For Us, which is the 2nd book in my YA series. And but now in this book, they're, adults. And it's a second chance romance, and it's like a beautiful story of healing. And like there's friendship, there's acceptance, there's love, there's like, anxiety and depression awareness, and like we have therapy and like a blended family. It's just all the best things that I
Yeah.
like in a book in one. And there's also some drama in there as well. Some people might not like it because it's not that spicy, and the spice that is in it is like not as heavily descriptive as the stuff in my other book. But I like the way that I approached the book, and I like like I love the characters. Like those are my favorite characters because also there are like the friend group in that book are the friend group from my YA series, and so they're just older adults, and their bond is still like
Yeah.
perfect, like magical, like beautiful, and their families are still like connected, and it's just in my opinion, it's a beautiful story, and it's one of my favorite the way it is my favorite story I've written. My second favorite would probably be Marigold.
So you brought up a good point just now that I wanna expand on.
Yeah.
Spice. Alright. I feel like it's just a lot of conversation around this in the
Mhm.
romance book space. Do you feel pressure from the readers to make your books spicy, or is there any pressure coming from them around how you choose to write your books or what you include in your books? Because I know I like books that are like a slow burn. I love a good spicy read, but that is not a book not having spice doesn't deter me from reading it. But some people will not like the book or give you low ratings because they felt like the book needed more spice. How have you navigated that pressure from readers when it comes to what you're writing and how you're approaching your books?
When I first wrote Sunflower and Marigold, it was not that spicy at all. Like the scenes in there are like they're like the early stages of somebody who's just learning how to write spice. Like every time I go back and read it, I was like, oh, that's cute. But like it evolves like with the last 2 books. And I like to say it's because in the last 2 books they actually married men. So, the spice in there,
Yeah.
that's how but, I think after I released Down South Bayou and I saw the reception of that book, and I was like, "Oh, the cover's really cute, but it's, like, really spicy." I was like, "Okay, now I gotta up the ante for Sweet Like Honey," and so I did that. But then I was writing a Beautiful Gem series, and that series is solely specifically, like, a erotic romance novella series, like, that's, like was the whole point, just me practicing writing spice. That's what I wrote that series for, honestly. And then when Amarantha came, I was like, I don't want this book to be that spicy because that's not the central.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be the focus of this book. And so when I did that, I realized that I don't have to make books like super, super spicy for them to be, good, I guess I should say. Cause the people that like the books gonna like the books. If they don't like it, they're not gonna like it, whether you have a lot of spice or not a lot of spice. And so I think that just changed the brain chemistry, like my brain chemistry a little bit. Cause I was like, oh, I don't have to try to um, you know, one up the next book with the spice stuff. And so There are books I have that are, like, really spicy, like the BR Bayou series or Sweet Like
Mhm.
Honey or Where There's Smoke, but there are, books that don't have as much spice like Amaranth, and for a while, I was like, because people were like, "What's Sweetest Pie?" Because you know, it's the 2nd book in the Ex-Roommate series after Sweet Like Honey.
Yeah.
A lot of people were asking if it was gonna be as spicy as Sweet Like, and I was like, "Yeah, it is," but as I was writing the book, I realized that also, just like Amaranth and their relationship, that's just, of course, they have off page fun, but like the the overall story and like the relationship and how they go about it, it don't call for all that to be written in the book. And so there are only like three scenes in the book, and they don't even sleep together till like chapter 9, I believe, which is like for me, it's like very slow burnish,
It
you know.
is.
But I think when I release that book, it's gonna also, like, be up there in one of my favorite books because I just love maybe it's just I love friends to lovers. That is my favorite trope, which is why Always There by You is my favorite book out of the, BR Bayou series because I just love the best friends to lovers trope.
Yeah.
And well, even though that one is spicy, it's kinda spicy. It wasn't supposed to be that spicy, but, the person was talking to me. But, sometimes I used to feel pressured, but now I'm just like, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
If I'm writing scene and the mood is there, then I don't have no problem with it, but I'm not gonna force myself to add more spice to the book just so it can be spicier than the last book.
I understand. I actually really enjoy the way that you write spice. So the girlies want more spice in books, but sometimes the spice is kind of cringy too. And then, so some of my book clubbers, some of the feedback they've had for some of the books that we've read, where they felt like the spice either didn't feel realistic for a same sex relationship or they didn't like the way it was described on the page. And we've talked about that. Even someone being queer, it doesn't guarantee that they can write spicy scenes really well, but you do. Where there's smoke, is so good. You really can't go wrong with a Erica Alexander book, like, for real. I tell people that all the time when I'm giving recommendations, like, "You're one of my auto-buy, auto-read authors," and I tell people, like, if you are wanting to read a really good Black Sapphic book, like, you really can't go wrong with one of your books, and I agree with you. Friends to Lovers is a superior trope. The only other
Mhm.
one I like just as much as Friends to Lovers is Enemies to Lovers. I love it when they, like, hating and then they fall in love, but Friends to Lovers is very superior. But I have a question for you. So are you a writer full time or are you juggling your writing business while also working another job?
Oh, I'm a writer full time. Just a little TMI, but the way my anxiety is set up, I tried working an office job. I worked there for I want to say a month. Before like right around the time I released making the best of it in 2023. I haven't been back to like actual office job since. So the money, money that I make on my books, I put it right back into my books again. But this is my full time job, writing
Yep.
and editing and promoting and everything. This is my job.
I love it. That is so inspiring. Y'all heard it here, okay? It is possible to be a full-time author and be an indie author, like, because 'cause you're doing all of this yourself, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't pay rent, so that's another, add to it as well. Fortunately, I have, my family that helps me out. But like when it comes to paying for covers and promotions and books and everything that I make off books, I put it right back into my business, and that's how I grow my business. And I've been seeing, profits, and I'm proud of myself because if I look at my royalties from 2023 and last year, it's you know
I'm proud of
I'm
you too.
blessed. I'm blessed.
I'm proud of you too. This is just so inspiring how you've created a lane for yourself, centering your art, centering stories that matter to us. And I feel like there's, pressure sometimes from authors to write certain things that they think
Mhm.
will sell and market. And you've focused on a niche that I feel like our stories get pushed to the margins. We don't get as much reception. The way that the books get talked about on social media, I feel like we don't get as much, hype on the internet, even though the books are just as good. I also feel like Black Sapphic books are overly critiqued in
Yeah.
comparison to other books.
Mhm.
And the way that our language is in the books and how people misinterpret that and like this was written poorly. Well, it was written that way on purpose because that's how we talk, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so the fact that you've been able to grow this and really not compromise who you are and who you're writing for, I'm very grateful because your books are black, black and queer. I'm just proud of you too that you've been able to do this full time, sustain yourself because we're out here and we want these books and we will support y'all. And that's why I really wanted to have you on my podcast. So, do you have any projects that are in the pipeline that you would like to let us know about?
So, I have been working on something secret with a certain business that's on Instagram, and they're, like, really popular for the thing that they do, but I cannot disclose it yet.
Okay.
But all I want to say is that y'all are gonna love it. It's, like, really gorgeous, and also May 2026 is when y'all can expect to see what I'm talking about. I don't know if they gonna announce it sooner than that, but I'm excited because this has been been in the making since like August. And yeah. Y'all gonna wanna just but other than that, I'm working on Sweetest Pie. I'm working on like a short story called Heavenly Aquamarine, which is kinda like in the Beautiful Gem series, but it's Zealand and Maddox like a little love story because I wanted to write a story about them because they're the only two that didn't have like the actual love story shown in the series. So I want to write a little ebook exclusive short story that I've been working on since last year. I don't know when it's coming out, but it's only gonna be a few chapters. Another Chance by You, hopefully be released in August or September.
Okay.
Have I started writing it? I have written the prologue, well, the pre-prologue, and that's it. But it's gonna get done. And other than that, oh, and of course, I'm gonna be at Black Romance Book Festival. And other than that, I ain't got nothing else going on. So,
Yeah, I will be at Black Romance Book Fest too, so please be prepared to meet me in person. All right. So my last question for you, where can people find more of your work?
so you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads at Tay and Friends Universe, and also YouTube. I don't really post on YouTube, but I post my book playlist on YouTube because I like that everybody has access to YouTube. Some people have Spotify, some people have Apple Music, but we all got YouTube. So that's why I put my playlist on YouTube. And my website is serenitymoonblues.com, and you can get signed copies of my books. You can get discounted copies of the Beautiful Gem series. I still have copies of The Rhythm of Rain at Dawn if y'all want signed copies of that. And on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, you can find it online as well. But you just search Eric Alexander and all my things will pop up.
Do you prefer people to buy books directly from you?
I like packing them up, including like the bookmarks and the character art and stuff. So yeah, if you want a signed copy, you can definitely buy it from me. But if if you don't really mind either way, then you can just buy it from Amazon. That's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah, I know there's been a big push for people to get books directly from the authors. But yeah, people have a variety of ways to access your writing. And I'm grateful that you have books on Kindle Unlimited because I'm very much addicted to my Kindle and do a lot of reading on there. But when I read a book and I love it, I have to buy the trophy. And I have several of your trophies on my bookshelf. So thank you for writing these amazing books and for centering the stories that you do. Because, like I said, there's several of us that really need this representation. And I'm very grateful that you're one of the voices in this community and that we have you to lean on for some amazing art and, some really good spice, really good spice. So, all right. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.